Throughout this week, as we've been talking about the family of God, one of the things we've been discussing are what are some of the behaviors, how we ought to behave in the household of God or the family of God. And part of this is triggered, as we'll see in Paul's first letter to the Thessalonians, by time passing between when Christ had been crucified, raised, and ascended, and the belief that the return of Christ was imminent, that Christ would come back very soon. As time passed, as the first generation of disciples began to pass away, and even the second generation, the question of how do we live and how do we treat each other and other people as we wait for the return of Christ became more important. That's part of what Paul is addressing in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 13 through chapter 5, verse 11. And he says things like, for example, in chapter 5, verse 8, that we are to be sober. We're not to be getting drunk. That we are to put on the breastplate of faith and love, and for a helmet, the hope of salvation. You hear that those threefold vital Christian virtues that Paul writes about so much in that verse of faith, love, and hope. He just sometimes changes the order. And our verse for today is verse 11, where Paul writes, "Therefore encourage one another and build up each other as indeed you are doing." One of the main tasks we have, both as individual believers and as a church as a whole, is we're here to encourage one another and build each other up to help other people to live as thriving disciples of Jesus. Encouragement is one of those things like oxygen that we just need every day and very frequently. And I encourage you, as you think about your own relationships, your own communication with people, whether that's via email or text or phone call or in person, just to constantly be thinking about how can I encourage this other person. None of us wants to be known as a discourager. We don't want to be the kind of person who, when we send an email or a message that the person on the other end is like, oh no, what now? We don't want to be that. We want to be someone, when someone sees an email coming from us or a text or a call, that they're excited to open it or to pick it up because they know that most likely it's going to be adding value to their life. It's going to be helping to encourage and build them up. So in a sense, we are all in the construction business. We're all here to build up other people, and we do that primarily through encouragement. So like Barnabas, one of my favorite characters in all of the Bible, I just encourage you as you go out through this day, look for ways, even in brief encounters that you may have with other people in passing, that you can be an encourager and build others up.